Hello, this is Mr. Gambino here with a new video. In this video, I'm going to be making my episode of contact mission content on Gerald's lost play missions that were a part of the Diamond Casino heist update as part of my series contact mission content. But yeah, starting off, I'll talk about a lot of the general stuff with these missions here. But yeah, the first mission on the screen right now is make ends meet. The vehicle I recommend is actually the Deluxo, because this one actually goes into an interior. So the flying capabilities of the Deluxo combined with its very good tracking missiles, I definitely think makes it very good. And also you're not as exposed like you are on a motorcycle. So I think the Deluxo is probably going to be the best choice for this mission in particular for sure. I believe I ended up using this vehicle for 4 of the things. So the Deluxo altogether, in a sense, could be a very good vehicle, aside from maybe the last mission that's on here. And yeah, for the order of these missions, I did it off of how they were listed on the Rockstar Newswire. The Rockstar Newswire, when they first introduced the last play missions, they had a very particular order, so I'm assuming that was the intended order for the little story in a way. It kind of tells these aren't story missions, but they're kind of themed similar to a story in a sense. So I went off of an order on the Rockstar Newswire, which may or may not be linked in the description. But yeah, in general, going over some things with these missions, all the last play missions are rank 1 contact missions, similar to a lot of the DLC contact missions. So a lot of the missions added on through updates, such as the dispatch services or repo works, even the casino missions, and probably the Super Yacht Life missions as well. Those all tend to be rank 1, so it's kind of in that class of missions being DLC. They're pretty much rank 1 missions. The player count is 1 to 4 players, so all of these missions are soloable. I think 1 to 4 players is the same player count as all the repo work missions. And then the RP reward, I'm kind of going to go off of my own thing I noticed for the RP this time around. But yeah, RP, I think around the high end should probably get into the 3,000s for RP, probably around that range. But yeah, contact missions in general, pretty great for RP, so very great for RP for the contact missions in general even. Money reward, from my experience, the money reward actually doesn't seem that great. I think the most I had for a mission in terms of time was almost 15 minutes, which I believe tends to get the second highest payout, and it was only 16,000. So I'm imagining the highest payout possible was probably 18,000 something. And yeah, I think the casino story missions, for example, their payouts in the 17,000s, high 17,000s. So it seems the payout's slightly better than the casino story missions, but doesn't seem as good as the repo works and the dispatch services from my experience. Which I hear the repo works, at least I think dispatch 2 can get into 23,100 with regular money even. But having 17,000, 18,000 payout might make sense, because yeah, that's around the amount in the casino story missions, which were the set of missions released right before this essentially. Those are the latest missions before the last play missions, obviously. And yeah, all these were part of Diamond Casino Heist, if I have not mentioned, for their update they were introduced in. And yeah, that's pretty much all the general details, for sure. Going into a couple of the more unique things with the make ends meet last play contact mission here. One thing is with the mission timers, it's actually at 3 o'clock a.m. So if you want to go for certain pre-modified vehicles that can spawn on the street, if you want to be able to get a good amount of certain pre-modified vehicles, you can definitely do so. I think there's certain vehicles that definitely spawn at this time that sell for more at the Los Santos Customs. Not that it's necessarily that great for making money for 2021 necessarily, doing that kind of thing, but still it's a thing you can do with the static mission timer technically. Another thing is this mission features safe cracking. And it's nowhere near as annoying of a mission that features safe cracking like dry docking. I think there's a mission called dry docking where the safe cracking is so ridiculous of like infinitely respawning enemies. This is a pretty easy mission in terms of having a safe cracking feature. Going into last play, go figure. In my opinion, the best vehicle to use again was definitely the Deluxo. The Deluxo, I feel, in general, is kind of just one of those, like, best vehicles to use in contact missions. It's like the one flying car in the game, which definitely gives it quite the advantages, and it's not as easy to get shot down, obviously, as it is in a motorcycle like the Oppressor and the Oppressor Mark II. But yeah. I believe it says in-game time for, like, a lot of these different missions on, like, the GTA Wiki, but I think all of the last play missions have very particular times they start in and they stay at as well. But yeah, I think every mission aside for the first last play mission here, I believe sticks to noon or 12 o'clock p.m. So, of course, again, certain, like, very particular pre-modified vehicles that spawn around noon, it's probably very easy to find those when playing any of these last play missions, aside for the very first one. So you should have a very good chance of getting certain pre-modified vehicles, and yeah. I believe for the van, there's only 2 possible locations. There's the one that's on the screen, and there's one other one that I think's more to the left of the, like, road here that I'm on right now. But yeah, it's super easy to clear the enemies out of the way, obviously, with the Deluxo, and it's super good tracking missiles. And fun facts, by the way, I believe right now with the Los Santos Tuners update, the regular, like, Kuruma is completely broken to where it's actually more bulletproof than the armored Kuruma. So at least during the Los Santos Tuners update right now, you can actually kind of go on the, like, regular Kuruma and you'll be, like, bulletproof and stuff. It's very weird. I think they messed up with the regular Kuruma. Just a little fun fact there, but yeah. As you can see, going into the van there triggers the next objective, which is either going to the University of Los Santos, or I believe the only other possibility is the Backlot City, which Backlot City is basically like the Richard Majestic, like, film studio. And then you gotta find 7 Impotent Rage figurines. You basically have to find 14 throughout the whole entire mission. So yeah, for the first section, the only possibilities are the University of Los Santos, and then the Backlot City. And I think Backlot City is, like, the only location I don't have. I think there's one location I did not have that I'll have, like, the screenshots for as well. But yeah, I'll go into University of San Andreas Los Santos. University of Los Santos Impotent Rage statue number 1 is on, like, a chair, and yeah, this is the University of Los Santos on the screen, so they will be on the actual, like, footage, but I will say, like, the locations and stuff kind of before they even, like, show up and all, for convenience sakes. Impotent Rage statue number 2 for University of Los Santos was kind of at, like, a dumpster, kind of on, like, a small rooftop, it looks like. Impotent Rage statue number 3 for University of Los Santos seems to be in, like, a hot dog van kind of thing or something. University of Los Santos Impotent Rage statue number 4 seems to be on, like, a wooden bench. University of Los Santos Impotent Rage statue number 5 seems to be on a, like, tennis ball machine. Impotent Rage statue number 6 for University of Los Santos seems to be on, like, an air conditioning vent kind of by the tennis court. And then finally, Impotent Rage statue number 7 for University of Los Santos seems to be about, like, pink flowers and, like, a couple of the, like, different bushes. Next, I will describe the next 7 locations for the Impotent Rage statues that you will get if you get the Vinewood Studios location instead of the location that's on the screen right now. But yeah, Vinewood Studios, which is basically the Richard Majestic studio, the first of the Impotent Rage statues for Vinewood Studios, is on like a cardboard box, which is probably kind of high up. I know the Vinewood Studio area kind of tends to have ones in like different kinds of like elevations and all of that. Impotent Rage statue number 2 for Vinewood Studios seems to be on like a scaffolding kind of thing next to like a paint bucket or whatever. Impotent Rage statue location number 3 for Vinewood Studios seems to be on like a tiny little ladder kind of thing. Impotent Rage statue number 4 appears to be on like a air conditioning kind of unit, kind of above some like cardboard boxes. Impotent Rage statue number 5, if you get the Vinewood Studios location instead, seems to be on like a heavy lift platform kind of thing. The Impotent Rage statue number 6 for Vinewood Studios appears to be kind of on like a trailer above like a cardboard box, kind of on like the ground of Vinewood Studios if I recall correctly. And then finally, Impotent Rage statue number 7 for the first possible location, if you get the Vinewood Studios location instead, is on like a white kind of concrete kind of catwalk essentially. So that's all the locations if you get the Vinewood Studios Richard Majestic kind of location instead of the University of Los Santos. Going into the second set of locations for the next like 7 to 14 like Impotent Rage statues that can be obtained, you either basically get the Pink Cage Motel or the Mirror Park for the second possible locations. So starting off with the Pink Cage Motel, this one's going to be in the gameplay, so you can watch the gameplay for a better look at these ones. But still, for convenience sake, I will still go over like a description for them. But yeah. For Impotent Rage statue number 1 for the Pink Cage Motel, it appears to be on like a solar panel. Impotent Rage statue number 2 appears to be in like a car wreckage. Impotent Rage statue number 3 appears to be on like a skateboard like ramp kind of thing. And yeah, I think there's BMXs by it for those who for some reason don't have a like easy way to get to it. But obviously, for example, I'm using like the Deluxe, so if you use like a fun vehicle, you should be able to get to the one on like the skate park ramp pretty easily without to use the BMX. The fourth one for the Pink Cage Motel is kind of on like a wooden like catwalk kind of thing. The fifth Impotent Rage statue for the Pink Cage Motel is actually behind a plant, which is definitely one of the more hidden ones, and is also probably why this mission is not that greatly rated on the actual game itself. It's I think it's like under 50% or something if I recall, which is kind of sad, but yeah, it is understandable. But yeah, impotent raid statue number 6 seems to be in a dumpster behind some stairs for the Pink Cage Motel. And finally, impotent raid statue number 7 for the Pink Cage Motel appears to be on like some boxes by like a pool. And by the way, before I go into Mirror Park, which is the last of the 2 possible locations for the second set of locations for the impotent raid statues, University of Los Santos and Mirror Park are the like 2 that don't have enemies. And then if you get like the Richard Majestic, like Batlock Studio kind of location, or the Pink Cage Motel, you'll have enemies to deal with before you can kind of go collecting the packages. I think for the like second one, you still have like cars pursuing you no matter like which one you get, but yeah. Half of the locations have like enemies that will already be there before you get there. So I'm assuming one location will have like enemies and any ever won't have any enemies that you go to. Unless I can just randomly freely choose between the 4 locations, and who knows, you might get the 2 more peaceful locations, and then you might also be able to get like the 2 locations that have the more enemies. Who knows, it could be completely random. But yeah. Anyways, for Mirror Park, if you don't get the Pink Cage Motel, you'll have the Mirror Park. I'll go over 7 descriptions. And by the way, I will be putting a guide from gtguide.net in the description. So there should be like a guide on the Last Play Go Figure mission, because yeah, this is definitely a mission that, in my opinion, definitely needs a guide. But yeah. Mirror Park location number 1 seems to be by like a thing of grass, by like a dumpster, garbage can kind of thing. Mirror Park location number 2 seems to be on like a kind of raised platform with like some dirt, has like a bit of red around it and some like grass. Mirror Park location number 3 seems to be in like a van wreckage in the back of it. Mirror Park location number 4 for the impotent raid statues seems to be in like an actual like barbershop. And yeah, I think they disabled the barbershop like location icon, so you will have to kind of know where to go for that one. Mirror Park location number 5 for the impotent raid statues seems to be above like seems to be kind of above like a hot dog van kind of thing. Mirror Park location number 6 seems to be on like an air conditioning unit for sure. And then finally, Mirror Park location number 7 seems to actually be on like a billboard. And that's the description of all 28 of the different possible impotent raid locations for the different statues, depending on like the different like maps you get. And again, I will have a guide from gtguide.net in the description, because yeah, Last Play Go Figure is definitely one of the most, if not like the most annoying contact mission I would say in the entire game currently. So yeah, I will definitely be sure to put that guide in the description. And then last but not least, if you don't take the van to the like impotent raid statues, which I do not recommend, I recommend still using the Deluxo and then go into like the van or like whatever flying vehicle you use or whatever other vehicle you use. I recommend going into the van at the end and then just going to Gerald's. I don't really recommend taking the van, because yeah, obviously there's enemies that kind of go after you in vehicles, so the van can get damaged if you do that. So I recommend just keeping it in the initial spot once you like get in it. And then once you're done with all the impotent raid statues, you get back and then just take it to Gerald's. That, in my opinion, is definitely the best strategy to go for when it comes to the Last Play Go Figure mission, for sure. On to last play, fast pedaling. I believe I recommend the Oppressor Mark II. I think if there's any last play mission that the Oppressor Mark II works kind of decently well in compared to a Deluxo, it would probably end up being this mission for sure. And yeah, this mission, you're essentially going to 4 different locations to steal drugs. You're going to a wheat farm, which uses that interior from the Bikers update. You're going to like a cargo warehouse from the Finance and Felony DLC. And you're also going to like a cocaine lockup and then a meth lab also. A couple interiors that are reused from the Bikers update. So yeah, this mission's pretty cool. It goes into a few different like business locations in the free mode of Grand Theft Auto Online, so that's pretty cool about it. But you're essentially just killing a bunch of enemies and then you're stealing like the drugs and stuff. Pretty easy. I think this is definitely the easiest to last play, if not one of the easiest, if it's somehow not the easiest. But yeah, for exterior, obviously you just kind of blow everything to smithereens with whatever like vehicle choice you're choosing. Obviously, if you're being very smart, you would have chose a very good vehicle for this. And then for the interiors, I obviously recommend using the assault shotgun. I definitely think the assault shotgun is the best shotgun that you could possibly use. So the assault shotgun is definitely going to be great. And yeah, since I'm in a weed factory, watch out for people in the actual like weed things there. In the weed factory, they tend to hide in the like weed there. And yeah, I don't know why, but it seems to show like 2 green dots in the weed. But don't worry, there's only one thing you have to collect. I was confused, I think, when replaying this one time. It looked like there was like a way to open up a thing to get to the second one. But I don't know, it might just be the like cargo one glitching up into the weed one, because they're kind of close in terms of their like locations, I believe. And yeah, in terms of where to start, I kind of started with the weed factory because I started with the wheat farm because I think it was kind of closest to Gerald's apartment. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. Is I went from the closest to Gerald's apartment, and I kind of went like to the right, to the left, and then like up as well, I think. But yeah, I think the hardest location was definitely the meth lab in terms of the exterior, like the outside, with how guarded it was and all that. So if you want to start with probably the hardest one, that would probably end up being the meth lab, I would want to say. But yeah, this mission is super easy. So I do not really think I have much of anything else to say for this one. On the last play deal with it, I decided to go with the Luxo again, being one of the like better contact mission vehicles again. But yeah, for the very first part of the mission, you go to what is supposedly a drug deal, but ends up not actually being a drug deal. You basically have to go to like 4 different containers. You look into all 4 different containers, and then Gerald notices that like trackers were used as like bait or something like that. But yeah, it's not too bad. Just deal with any ballas that get in your way. You don't really have to necessarily kill much of any of the ballas, but yeah. I think they might use like moonbeams and stuff in this mission, so you might want to watch out for that, because moonbeams are known to like side seats because of the sliding doors. You can use like LMGs, assault rifles, and stuff like that. So I might want to watch out for that if that's truly the case, if I'm remembering the correct mission here and whatnot. And then for the last couple parts of the mission, you're basically like destroying vehicles and stuff and searching around like yellow areas. When you do all that, you're going to accumulate a water level. I believe it goes up to 3 stars. If I recall correctly, you can't use the lesser services to call it off, unfortunately. So I think you do have to actually lose a cop. So yeah, flying vehicle like the Deluxo will definitely be of quite good help. Or of course something like an Akula or an other stealth, like the stealth capabilities, that can definitely be of help as well. I believe I went to like the Maze Bank Tower, and from there it was pretty easy to lose the water level, and I don't really think I can recall much of anything else that is all that worth mentioning or anything. Until Last Play Bad Companies, it's the like fourth and like final to last play missions where I recommend the Deluxo. Obviously, there was fast pedaling where I decided to change it up with the Oppressor Mark II, and then the last mission I actually used something different as well. But yeah, this is actually a pretty simple mission. You're basically just taking out a lot of different enemies, of course. But you gotta start out by killing 4 Alpha henchmen. The first one here is like Vespucci, and this one I think it's kind of best to go from behind the henchman here. I think pretty much all the other henchmen, it's best to go in front of the henchmen. The third henchman, I believe I recall, is like behind an air conditioning unit, so that one might be more annoying to hit. So it might be best to try to preserve your missiles for that like third one there for sure, because that could take a bit of missiles, of course, depending on if they're like not behind the like vent or whatnot for the air conditioning. And then yeah, once you take out the henchmen, you have to take out the boss. And the boss is where it gets more interesting. I believe there's a technical in the like Alta construction site that they actually kind of use against you. So it might be kind of worth taking out the technical first. That way it's not much of a problem. Not that I really think it would be much of a problem in the Deluxo, but still, definitely something that could be quite worth doing. And yeah, taking out the boss is kind of annoying. They're in the like Alta construction site. And yeah, I think the Deluxo is definitely a super good choice. I cannot think of much of another vehicle that would have such an easy time of getting inside of the construction site that flies. Obviously, if you're using pretty much any helicopter, you're pretty much going to have to like go into the construction site on foot. But yeah, with the Deluxo, you can literally just fly right into like where the boss is after you killed him. And yeah, there's quite a lot of like wall and stuff around the boss, so yeah. Definitely preserve your missiles for the boss for sure, because they're quite guarded by the construction site, like the actual structure of it. But it should be pretty easy to still kill them though. And yeah, definitely clear a way in front of them. You don't gotta deal with much of the enemies to like the left of the boss, but make sure like kind of anyone else by the boss is kind of killed as well. And yeah, from there you just take the photo and then leave the area. It should be pretty simple from there. finally onto last play end product. This mission is the final of the 6 last play missions, and it appears that you saw like basically everything that you have obtained in the previous few missions in this mule custom to like a deal. But yeah, first one goes really bad, and then the second one goes kind of bad, but once you like eliminate the few balls at the end, and yeah, it's basically over from there. But yeah, this mission I think is one of the couple last play missions that are kind of the worst. I feel it's definitely better than Go Figure. I think it's kind of better than Go Figure for sure, not having like a bunch of different like impotent raid statues that you have to obtain. That can be in kind of hidden spots. At least this mission, you know like what you're supposed to like do, like where to go and stuff like that. So it's, in that respect, it's not really the worst mission, so I think it's kind of the second worst of these last play missions. But to be fair, it is the final of the mission, so I guess the difficulty is kind of understandable to say the least. But yeah, this mule custom, it's just got like light armor, it looks like, so yeah, not really that important. Plus, I don't really think the armor really impacts much of anything with the like bullet resistant and stuff anyways on the mule custom. And it also has no weapons on it, so you cannot really use like the vehicle itself. You pretty much gotta go like on foot or like use your own vehicles and stuff. But yeah, I kind of tried the Tour, I think, with both this location, and then there's also the Union Depository like parking lot. But yeah, there's this location on the screen right now, and then there's also a Union Depository parking lot, which will not be on the gameplay. Like, I definitely was not going to do the mission a second time to show off the Union Depository one. But yeah, depending on the location, different vehicles can work better, in my opinion. But yeah, the Union Depository and parking lot, that one's a much more open area. As you were able to see, the location I'm at, or the one that I actually got, it's actually kind of pretty closed off and stuff, which is kind of nice for using like shotguns and stuff. It definitely can make like shotguns more viable on like the Del Perro location compared to Union Depository. But yeah, at the same time, certain like missile vehicles and stuff like that can probably be better off in the Union Depository parking lot. They did a more open like space and all that. But yeah, and just like with this one, similar to fast pedaling where I used a different vehicle other than the Deluxo, I had used the oppressor on that one. This time I went with the armored Kuruma because trust me, there is a ton of enemies. I tried the Deluxo and the Tour, and I think eventually I kind of got overwhelmed with enemies and with both of those vehicles. So even vehicles with like missiles kind of can struggle in this mission. So yeah, I think it's kind of best to go with a highly armored vehicle. Like yeah, I know there's kind of certain vehicles in the game. I know like the regular Kuruma, for example, is broken right now. To where I think the regular Kuruma would actually be more effective with the Los Santos Tuners update currently, compared to the armored Kuruma even. But yeah, I wanted to go with a vehicle that's kind of obvious that it's super bullet resistant. I think there's also vehicles like the half track and stuff where even like FMJ rounds can't penetrate like the front like glass and stuff, believe it or not. Not that the balls use full jacket rounds and all, but yeah. Armored Kuruma I think is definitely going to be one of the best possible vehicle options. Because yeah, Tour is kind of a glass skin, and it's the one like a land vehicle aside for the limited fully loaded ruiner that has unlimited missiles. Tour being a high glass skin in my opinion, it's not a very good vehicle to use because you're going to get shot out of the Tour really easily if you get overwhelmed by the ballas. And yeah. Also, the Tour does not have the best tracking missiles. It might have like the second best tracking missiles, but it's not like the Deluxo. And the Deluxo, you can use it, you can kind of use it. But I think if you kind of fly with the Deluxo, if you fly too high, it will say you're leaving the area. So you're kind of grounded in a way, even with like the Deluxo, if I recall. I think at least in this location with the Deluxo, if you kind of fly even the slightest bit too high, it will count as like leaving the area. So yeah, you're kind of limited in altitude. unfortunately for the deluxe, though, so I don't recall that one necessarily being that great. So yeah, just for safety's sakes and making sure you have a lot of health and stuff, I highly recommend the Armored Kuruma. And for what to do, I would kind of just watch the gameplay. It's hard to explain how to kill, like, probably 50 plus enemies, definitely less than 100, I would say. If I want to say it was like 50 plus even on the enemies, I don't know like the exact number, but yeah, it's definitely a lot of enemies. And I think I went with the AP pistol, which is technically like the best drive-by weapon, I would say, in the game. For, I would say, like a handheld kind of like weapon. And yeah. Fun fact, by the way, a couple of the vehicles that the like balls use, I believe, are Moonwing Customs. I kind of think they do use them in the Deal With It mission, like I mentioned. But yeah, Moonwing Customs, if there's enemies in the side seats, they might be able to use like the LMGs and like assault rifles and stuff like that. So yeah, with Moonwing Customs, you might want to watch out for those depending on if you're like on foot or in different vehicles and like Armored Kuruma or some other super armored vehicle. Because yeah, there might be enemies with super powerful weaponry in the side seats of the Moonbeam Customs. There's also Buccaneer Customs and then Virgo Classic Customs apparently. So they actually use a couple of the like Lowrider and like Lowrider Custom Classic vehicles, which is definitely pretty cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the stuff I can think of mentioning, I feel, for this particular mission here, at least in this little section. After you're like done in this area, you basically go into the Mill Custom. There's like a new deal location. I think it's Elysian Island. I think that's the only possible one. So there's two possible locations, I believe, for the first one, and then just the Elysian Island one for the like second location. And that one's way easier. You just gotta deal with like a couple of few like kind of vehicles and then balls around like the sides of them and whatnot. But yeah, from there it definitely pretty much gets super easy once you get to the Elysian Island section. But anyways, what do I think of these contact missions? In my opinion, they're not the most worth doing. Apparently the dispatch services and then the repo works probably pay out better. I know the repo works at least can get up to like $23,100, I believe, for like 16 plus minutes on normal money. And dispatch services might be kind of more than that. But yeah, dispatch services, the bad thing of that is that you need at least 2 players minimum to start the dispatch services at least. But yeah. So these are kind of similar to the repo works where it's like soloable missions, which is definitely quite nice. So not a thing these missions have over the dispatch services. I do actually kind of like these better than the repo works because the repo works are heavy on vehicle usage. Like there's a repo work where you have to use like the cargo bomb, deliver a bunch of like vehicles and stuff. There's like a repo work where you have to move like a ton of like RVs and stuff like that. So yeah, at least these missions aren't too heavy on like using very particular vehicles, which can make some missions super slow, in my opinion, for sure. Which yeah, equals more payout, but yeah, you basically just do missions as fast as you can, because spending extra time in a mission isn't necessarily the super most worthy thing to do or anything like that. But yeah, I feel the missions for the most part are pretty fast paced aside for this one on the screen right now, and then go figure. So there's a good few very playable missions. So I definitely feel these missions are pretty fun, but I think they pay more around the lines of like the Diamond Casino and Resort missions. Which makes sense because those were the missions that came out like right before the Gerald Let's Play missions. So yeah, I think the highest I got, which was like 13 to 14 minutes on Go Figure or something, which I think is like the second highest payout. I was like maybe like 14 to like $16,000 or something. For 14 minutes, that's not really that worth it even for the Let's Play missions. So yeah, fortunately the payout's kind of less than the dispatch and repo works. But yeah, the missions are definitely quite fun and whatnot. It's not too reliant. Definitely not too reliant on very particular vehicles, like I mentioned, like the repo works, which can make them slow. And they're also soloable, which dispatch services, for example, is not. Comparing it to some of the like later like contact mission additions. So I definitely think these are quite fun. Just unfortunately not that worth doing for money. And yeah, in terms of the next episode of Contact Mission content, there's actually only one left in the current state of the game. And that will be the Super Yacht Life missions, which is the final of 3 sets of like story missions. And that's the thing as well, Last Play kind of has like a kind of story that it tells as well. The Last Play missions aren't like full-on story missions, but it does kind of tell a story, especially with the order I put them in, which I went off of like the Rockstar Newswire for the order I went through these missions in. But yeah. And the cool thing about Super Yacht Life missions that's coming up is that those are soloables, like story missions as well. And I think it kind of forces personal aircraft, so it actually makes the Super Yacht Life missions pretty interesting. So I'm definitely very excited for that part. And that Super Yacht Life mission episode I'm going to be making, that's going to like be one where I do text on the screen, because I think there's actual like dialogue in those missions, hence why they're story missions. It tells like a story for like the characters talking and stuff like that give you the mission and whatnot. But yeah, that's basically it for this Last Play episode of Contact Mission content, so that will finally be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed.